Een warm welkom voor de heer Imai en zijn verhaal hier vanmiddag in het evaluon. Mr. Imai.
Today, customers have all sort of orders. Customer never come to you asking for the same product. Each customer may be ordering different product. And even for the same product, many different varieties. And the order for give orders for different volumes. But from the company side, you only have limited resources. And how are you going to meet with these diversified orders? And to do that, you have to first make the total flow. You have to make the flow and synchronize throughout the flow. Then you can establish, in order to produce this particular product, what will be the takt time. And so for every different order, you can adjust your scheduling. And this is called leveling. Leveling is more or less the same as flexibility. You have to develop the flexibility to meet the diversified orders from the customers. And if you have not done this, like GM, Chrysler, or even Ford, I don't think they have done this. It takes a great deal of effort to come to this level. So what it means that if you don't have this foundation, when customers come, some of the new orders, and also there's always up and down in the market. So you have to adjust to the changing market conditions. But if you don't have this flexibility, what happens is that you are making, and also because you start out with sales forecast, you have to be building up lots of inventories. And when the recession arrives, the difference becomes more conspicuous. If you have been doing that, you can much faster to adjust your production scheduling. But the old way, it takes a long time to adjust. And so, for these reasons, I would say that the difference between the traditional and the lean companies become most conspicuous when the recession arrives. And that also greatly affects the profitability of both companies. For the lean companies, they can make fast adjustment. Whereas in the traditional company, they cannot make an adjustment, and instead, they are left with huge inventories of unfinished products and finished products, and yet you have to introduce new product. So the new product is going to compete with the old product. And then, how are you going to sell the old product? Big discount, or special guarantee, special money provided to your dealers. And every activity affects your coffer. Now, I want to talk about Gemba. And of course, Gemba KAIZEN is my second book, title of my second book. And Gemba, means the real place, and the real place where the value-adding job is being carried out. Also, underneath Gemba, we have all these people, CEOs here, senior managers, and then middle managers. You have also technical engineering people. And then you also have supervisors. What are their jobs? We say their job is to support Gemba, because these are the people that can make or break the company. If they can do a good job, customers are satisfied and we can survive. But unfortunately, that is not the perception of most managers. They think Gemba is a failure source. Things always go wrong. Good managers don't want to go to Gemba. But in Japan, the Gemba is a very common phrase together with Kaizen. And if I call some of my friends, let's say he is the plant manager, I call him on the phone, his secretary will say, he's 今現場に行ってます It means he's out in Gemba. That's a very common saying, he's out in Gemba. It means he may be walking through the shop floors or in the warehouse. Anyway, he's walking around on the plant. So there's only one place which is not Gemba. That is his desk. So when he's away from his desk, his chances are that he may be in Gemba. And I think you're all familiar with Detective Colombo. And in the police department, whenever they talk about Gemba, that is where the action is. If there was a traffic accident on the highway, that is Gemba. And in the homicide department, when they talk about Gemba, that is where the body lies. So whenever the stories unfold in the movie program, where does Colombo go first? Of course, he goes to Gemba right away. Have you ever seen Colombo sitting at his desk? Do you know if he has a desk? He's behaving typically like a typical Japanese good manager who believes in Gemba and takes the trouble of going to Gemba. First of all, so this leads us to the 5 Gemba principles. Whenever abnormality occurs, go to Gemba first. You have to be, and you have to go Gemba and get to know, what's happening on the shop floor. And at one time, a young Indonesian production engineer who was working, the joint venture between Toyota and the Indonesian company, was invited to come to Toyota for training. And on the very first day of his training, he was assigned to one of Toyota's plants supervisor. And this supervisor took him to the corner of the plant. And he had a chalk in his hand. And when he came to the corner, which is a little bit heightened, where you can look down what people are doing, with his chalk, he drew a circle on the floor and said, "Hey, Cristiano, you should stay within this circle. Don't move and have a good look. And don't move until I come back." And then he was gone. So poor Cristiano had to stay inside, started to look around. And the tax time was something like 30 seconds. So people are repeating themselves. Very soon he got bored. Then he got angry. And he said to himself, I thought I came here to learn more about the latest industrial engineering. So he was expecting that they would give him very thick handbook on the latest industrial engineering and take him to the schoolroom, and some doctorate professor will start giving lectures. None of those things happened. Now he was told, don't move and have a good look. After a while, And he got very angry, you know. Oh, why do they treat me like this? But then after a while, maybe an hour or so later, the guy came back, took him to his room, and started to ask many questions. What did you see? How often did you see people, you know, departing from their workstation and go somewhere to take something else? Have you noticed any abnormalities taking place? All the materials moving smoothly? And to his shame, for most of the questions, he was unable to answer because he had no criteria to look at. And he was just seeing, but he was not really trying to see through the things developing over there. Then he was told that at Toyota, everybody, newcomer, whether they're the engineers or, you know, technical school graduate, are thrown into Gemba and stay there for a while to get to know how things are. And if you don't know how things are in Gemba, how can you be helpful? And so Christian later told me that that was his best training he ever had after graduating the university. And that was Toyota's way. So ever since then, he said, whenever he heard something developed on the shop floor, he would go there right away. So go to Gemba, you know, is a very common phrase we keep hearing. And as I said, the only place which is not the real Gemba is manager's desk. So if managers sit at his desk and wait for the report to arrive, whatever report he receives, it is already fabricated. It is a fabricated report because he didn't go there and have a look. Somebody there had a look and in his or her own judgment prepared the report and sent it to him. So it is already fabricated. But if you take the trouble of going right to the Gemba and have a look, you are right in the midst of the reality. What you see is the real data. And so you don't need any fishbone diagram or Pareto chart. You are surrounded by the data, by reality. And chances are that if you have a good look at it, keep asking why, chances are that you can come up with the root cause of the problem.